Nazareth was not a city of power. It was small, familiar, ordinary, a place where everyone knew everyone, and where greatness was never expected to rise. This was the town where Jesus had grown up. The streets knew his footsteps. The synagogue knew his silence. They had watched him as a child, as a carpenter, as Mary's son, and now, he returned, not as a boy, not as a builder, but as something unsettling. It was the Sabbath, the synagogue filled with routine, scriptures, prayers, tradition, nothing unusual, until Jesus stood up. All eyes followed him as he walked forward. Not with hesitation, not with fear, but with calm authority. The scroll of Isaiah was handed to him. He opened it deliberately, as if he had been waiting for this exact moment since eternity. And he read, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the captives, and recovery of sight for the blind, to release the oppressed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." The words hung in the air, hope-filled words, healing words, liberating words. Then Jesus did something unexpected. He closed the scroll, handed it back, and sat down. The synagogue fell silent. Every eye was fixed on him. Then he spoke, not loudly, not aggressively, but with a sentence that shook heaven and earth. "Today, this scripture is fulfilled in your hearing. Today, not someday, not in the future, not through someone else. Today." At first, amazement swept through the room. They whispered to one another. Gracious words, powerful speech. But admiration quickly turned to confusion. Confusion turned into offense, and offense turned into rage. They began to ask the question that kills revelation. Isn't this Joseph's son? Not who is he becoming, but who does he think he is? Jesus heard their hearts. He knew what they wanted next. A miracle, proof, entertainment, validation. And he refused. Instead, he confronted them. He spoke a proverb they did not want to hear. No prophet is accepted in his hometown. Then he went deeper. Where pride bleeds, he reminded them of Elijah, sent not to Israel's widows, but to a Gentile woman in Zarephath. He reminded them of Elisha, who healed not many in Israel, but Naaman the Syrian. The message was clear. God's grace is not controlled by familiarity. God's power is not obligated to entitlement. And faith, not heritage, opens heaven. That was the breaking point. The synagogue exploded with fury. Not sinners, not pagans, religious people, people who knew scripture, but could not recognize its fulfillment. They rose up as one. They dragged Jesus out of the synagogue, out of the town, up to the edge of a cliff. The Messiah, the Anointed One, stood on the brink of death. Before performing a single public miracle. No healing first, no signs first, only truth. And truth made them violent. They were ready to throw him down, ready to silence the voice that exposed their hearts. But then, something supernatural happened. Jesus passed through the crowd. No struggle, no panic, no explanation. They could not touch him. Because rejection does not cancel destiny. He walked away from his hometown, from his comfort zone, from those who thought they knew him. Nazareth rejected him, but the world would receive him. This forgotten sermon teaches a dangerous truth. Sometimes the greatest rejection comes before the greatest revelation. Sometimes those closest to you are least able to see who God has made you. And sometimes, before miracles flow, truth must confront pride. Jesus was rejected before he was celebrated, despised before he was followed, almost killed before he healed multitudes. And Nazareth lost its moment. Not because Jesus lacked power, but because familiarity bred unbelief. The sermon ended. The crowd dispersed. But history was set in motion. The rejected prophet would become the risen king. And the stone they tried to throw away would become the cornerstone of salvation.